In this video, we will practice adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. When you're adding polynomials like we are in problem number 1, you're really just combining like terms. So these go together because they're both cubed, and these go together because they're both x's. So when you combine like terms, all you do is add the coefficients. The exponents stay the same. So this is going to make 7x to the third power and negative 10x. Similarly, on problem number 2, the like terms are here and here. Now, be careful to put things in descending exponential order. In other words, x squared is the highest power, so 7x squared should go first. Now, 9x minus 2x is 7x. That goes next. And then you can bring down the plus 1 last. Now, when you're subtracting, like we are on problem number 3, you need to take one additional step. Put a 1 next to the subtraction sign, because what you want to do is distribute negative 1. So I'm going to multiply both of these by negative 1. That's going to give me negative 3x to the third power and plus 2x. The first set of parentheses, I can just bring that down. So that'll be 4x to the third power minus 8x. Now I can look for like terms. So 4x to the third power and negative 3x to the third power, those are like terms. And negative 8x and positive 2x are like terms. So that's going to give me x to the third power. You know, 4 minus 3 is 1, so this is like 1x to the third power, but don't put the 1. And negative 8 and 2 make negative 6. So this will be negative 6x. And that's the final answer. Again, this is subtraction. Some students accidentally distribute. If there were no minus sign here, then I would distribute. But there is a minus sign. So I'm not going to multiply everything by 9x. But what I will do is I'm going to put I'll turn this negative sign into a negative 1, and I will multiply everything by negative 1. So that's going to make this negative 7x squared plus 2x minus 1. And then I can bring down my 9x and hunt for like terms. For example, 9x and 2x are like terms. So I will combine those, but first, the highest exponent goes first. So negative 7x squared goes first. 9 and 2 make 11, so this will be 11x. And then you can bring down the minus 1 for the final answer. Okay, now let's talk about multiplication. Notice we have these two binomials. There's no plus sign or minus sign in the middle. That's how I know this is multiplication. Okay, compare problem number 5 with problem number 3. With a minus sign here, it's subtraction. All right, with no minus sign, it's multiplication. Okay? So this is where we have a choice. We will either do repeated distribution, or we will use the box method. Okay, on this problem, I'm going to use repeated distribution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the 8x for a moment, and I'm going to distribute the 4x to the third power. So if I do 4x to the third power times 3x to the third power, that's going to make 12x to the sixth power. So when you multiply, you go ahead and multiply the coefficients, but you add the exponents. Anyway, 4x to the third power times negative 2x, that's going to be negative 8x to the fourth power. X to the third times x is x to the fourth power. So fine, we did the distributive property. But now we have to do it again. This time we will ignore the 4x to the third power, and we will distribute negative 8x. So negative 8x times 3x to the third power is going to make negative 24x to the fourth power. Notice how I line up my like terms. You should do the same. Negative 8x times negative 2x is going to be positive 16x squared. Finally, you combine your like terms, which are lined up right here. So I'm just going to bring down my 12x to the sixth power. Negative 8 and negative 24 make negative 32. So I'll have negative 32x to the fourth power. Again, when you combine like terms, you're just adding the coefficients. The variables and the exponents stay the same. And then I bring down my plus 16x squared. So this should be the final answer. Okay, so number 6 is another type of multiplication problem. Because this is a monomial times a trinomial, I can just go ahead and do the distributive property. So I'm just going to distribute the 9x. Again, notice the difference between number 4 and number 6. All right, they're almost the same, but number 4 has a minus sign in there. Number 6 doesn't. When there's a minus sign in there, I don't multiply 9x times everything. Okay, I just combine like terms. But without a minus sign, this is multiplication. This is when I distribute. So anyway, 9 times 7 is 63. So this is going to be 63x to the third power. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. And then x times x is x squared. Of course, 9x times 1 is just 9x. So that's the answer to number 6. Okay, so now we have a combination of these operations. So on problem number 7, again, this is just a monomial. There's no addition or subtraction, so I'm going to do the distributive property. So this will be 2x to the fifth power plus 10x to the fourth power minus 6x to the third power. Now number 8, see the minus sign? So I am not going to be doing the distributive property or anything like this. I'm going to be combining like terms. I do need to put a little 1 right here to remind me to multiply everything by negative 1. So that's going to give me negative 5x to the third power minus 2x minus 4. Then I can bring down my 2x to the third power plus 4. So let's look for the like terms. 2x to the third power and negative 5x to the third power, those are like terms. And then 4 and negative 4, those are like terms. Okay, so 2x to the third power minus 5x to the third power, that's negative 3x to the third power. Okay, next comes the negative 2x, which has no like term, so I just bring it down. And then positive 4 and negative 4 cancel each other out completely. So this is the final answer. Now looking at number 9, notice there's no plus sign or minus sign between these. That's how I know this is multiplication. So this is the time where I'm either going to do the distributive property twice, or I could use the box method. Last time I did the distributive property twice, so I guess this time I'll do the box method. So the box method works like this. Okay, I'll take the first binomial and write it on one side. So here I have 3x and I have 4. And I take the other binomial and write it across the top. So this will be 2x and this will be -5. All right, then I fill each cell by multiplying the row expression times the column expression. So 3x times 2x is 6x squared. And then 3x times -5 is -15x. And then 4 times 2x is 8x. And 4 times -5 is -20. Okay, once you fill all of these cells, there's no more multiplication. Now you're just combining like terms. So I'm first going to identify any like terms that need to be combined. So these will be put together. These will be combined. Everything else will just be brought down unchanged for the final answer. So 6x squared has no like term, so I bring it down. As I combine these, remember, when you combine like terms, the variable part doesn't change. So this won't be x squared, it'll just stay x. But this is going to be -7x. And then I bring down the -20. And that's the final answer. Okay? Now, for number 10, see the plus sign? That means I'm not doing any multiplication. I'm just combining like terms. So let's see. 2x and x are like terms. -5 and -7 are like terms. 8x squared has no like term, so I'm just going to bring that down. But 2x and 1x make 3x. -5 and -7 make -12. So that's the answer to number 10. Okay, a rectangle has a width of 5x minus 3 and a height of 2x plus 5. Write an expression for the perimeter. Okay, well, I think we should draw a diagram. So here's a rectangle. Okay, the width is 5x minus 3. And the height is 2x plus 5. Okay, and this is going to go for both of these problems, so before I clutter up the picture with other stuff, I think I will copy it. For use in the problem number 12. So for the perimeter, I want to add up all of the sides. So it's useful to note that the opposite sides of a rectangle have the same length. So that means this is also 5x minus 3, and this is also 2x plus 5. So for the perimeter, I need to add all of these sides up. So I'm just going to be combining like terms. You know, if I were going to write this horizontally, I would have 2x plus 5 plus 5x minus 3 plus 5x minus 3 plus 2x plus 5. All right, that would be me like adding all of these up. And you could see that I would need to combine like terms. However, there's no need to write them sideways like that. You can just go straight off the diagram and begin to combine like terms. So, for example, these are all like terms. Everything I'm highlighting now, those are like terms. And then the 5 and the -3 and the 5 and the -3, those are like terms. So, adding up all of the x terms, 5 and 5 make 10. 2 and 2 make 4. Altogether, that's 14. So I have 14x. Okay, now for the other like terms, the blue, the constants, 5 and 5 make 10. -3 and -3 make -6. So 10 and -6 is 4. All right, so this is an expression for the perimeter. Now, for area, the way you find the area of a rectangle is you multiply base times height. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to multiply these expressions. So we're going to do base times height. Okay, this is how you find area. All right, last time I did the box method. So this time I'm going to do repeated distribution. Okay, so for example, I might ignore the -3 and distribute the 5x. So that's going to give me 10x squared, all right, 5x times 2x. And then 5x times 5 is going to be 25x. Okay, next I will distribute the -3. -3 times 2x is -6x. -3 times 5 is -15. In the end, I need to combine my like terms, which are lined up. So I will have 10x squared plus 19x. All right, I combine those, and then minus 15. So this should be the final answer for number 12. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.